Welcome to the Veridion Briefing. I am Sloan Mercer with the Veridion Group, a private intelligence and security consultancy. This is a special edition, and today we are covering something that every publicly visible person should understand, but almost nobody actually trains for. How to determine if you are being followed. If you are an executive, an influencer, a content creator, a public-facing professional, or anyone whose daily routine is observable to people you do not know, you should assume your visibility creates exposure. That does not mean you need to be paranoid. It means you need a plan. Most people think of being followed as something dramatic. A dark van in the rearview mirror. Someone in a trench coat lurking behind a newspaper. That is not how it works in reality. Real surveillance is subtle. The same vehicle appears twice across two different stops. The same person shows up at the coffee shop and then again at the parking garage. Somebody seems to know your schedule a little too well. These are the indicators that matter, and most people miss them entirely because they have never been taught what to look for or how to test for it. That is where a surveillance detection route comes in, an SDR. And today I am going to teach you how to build one, how to run one, and what to do with the information it gives you. Let me start with what an SDR actually is, because most people have never heard the term, and those who have often misunderstand it. A surveillance detection route is not a car chase. It is not evasive driving. It is not countersurveillance in the aggressive sense. An SDR is a pre-planned sequence of movements through an area that gives you repeated opportunities to observe whether the same person or vehicle appears again under circumstances where that would be unusual. A good SDR does three things. First, it forces a possible follower to make repeated decisions. Every time you turn, stop, change direction, or shift from one area to another, a follower has to decide whether to stay with you. Each decision they make increases their exposure to detection. Second, it gives you clean observation points, places where you can pause naturally and check your environment without looking like you are checking your environment. And third, it ends at a safe place, not at your home, not at your private office, at a public, staffed, well-lit location where you have witnesses, cameras, and access to help if you need it. That last point is critical, and I will say it again. Never run an SDR that ends at your residence. The entire purpose of the exercise is to determine whether you are being followed. If you drive home while running that test, you have just confirmed your home address to the person you are trying to detect. That is the single most common mistake people make, and it is the most consequential. Which brings me to the two bad decisions people make when they think they are being followed. Almost everyone does one of two things. They either panic and drive straight home, which confirms where they live, or they start making random turns with no structure, which creates stress, degrades their own ability to observe, and can look erratic enough to escalate a situation rather than control it. Both of those responses are poor risk management. A proper SDR is the opposite. It is controlled, calm, built around normal public movement, and designed to give you decision advantage rather than take it away. Now let me teach you how to build one. We use a four-layer model that anyone can apply regardless of their background or training level. Layer 1 is baseline awareness. Before you start testing anything, you need to know what normal looks like. This is the foundation that everything else is built on. When you leave a location, ask yourself three simple questions. Was anyone near me when I left? Is any vehicle behind me that was also present when I departed? Is anyone repeatedly appearing in my mirrors, on foot, or at subsequent stops? You are not looking for a single coincidence. A single sighting of the same car means almost nothing in a city where people share the same roads. What you are looking for is pattern repetition. The same indicator appearing across multiple transitions where it would be statistically unusual for a random person to still be present. Baseline awareness is not about suspicion. It is about calibration. You are establishing what your normal environment looks like so that you can recognize when something deviates from that norm. Layer 2 is route variation. This is where you begin deliberately introducing changes that require a follower to stay with you through decisions that would naturally separate random traffic. Route variation can include an unexpected turn off your normal path, moving from one district or neighborhood to another, entering a parking garage and exiting from a different side, making a short stop in a populated area, taking a loop around a block instead of continuing straight. The key principle here is that each change should still look completely normal to everyone around you. You are not doing U-turns in the middle of the road. You are not running red lights. You are making the kind of movements that any person might make during a normal day of errands, but you are doing them deliberately and in a sequence designed to shed random traffic while retaining anyone who is purposefully staying with you. If you make 3 or 4 natural route changes and the same vehicle or person is still in your orbit, that is no longer a coincidence. That is information. Layer 3 is observation points. These are specific locations along your route where you can pause, look around, and assess your environment without drawing attention to yourself. Good observation points share certain characteristics. They are public, well-trafficked, and provide you with natural reasons to stop. Hotel valet lanes and drop-off areas work well because pulling up, pausing briefly, and then pulling away is completely normal behavior at a hotel. Parking garage ramps work because they create a natural choke point where you can observe vehicles that follow you in. Coffee shop parking lots with multiple exits work because you can enter from one side, pause, and exit from another. Gas stations on main roads work because stopping for fuel is unremarkable. Public parks with open sightlines work because you can observe a wide area while appearing to enjoy the scenery. These locations create friction for a follower. If someone is trying to maintain surveillance on you, they have to decide how to handle each of your stops. Do they pull into the same gas station? Do they wait on the street? Do they drive past and circle back? Every one of those decisions increases their visibility to you if you know what to look for. Layer 4 is the safe endpoint. Your SDR must terminate at a location that improves your security rather than compromises it. A good safe endpoint has visible staff who can help you or serve as witnesses. It has cameras, it has good lighting, it has other people present, and it gives you easy access to call for help if you need to. Strong safe endpoints include police station parking lots, hospital emergency entrances, hotel lobbies and valet areas, fire stations, and any prominently staffed commercial location with good lighting and foot traffic. Do not end your route at your home. Do not end it at your private gym. Do not end it at your regular quiet coffee shop where you sit alone. The endpoint is the most important decision in the entire route because it determines where you are if the answer to your question turns out to be yes. Now let me walk you through what a real-world SDR concept looks like in practice. We will use downtown Tampa as a teaching example because it offers a useful mix of public parks, hotels, major corridors, parking facilities, and waterfront pedestrian space. Phase 1 is departure. You leave your origin and move into the downtown area on a normal route. You do not begin with aggressive behavior. No sudden turns, no speed changes, no obvious checking of mirrors. Your first task is simply to apply Layer 1. Identify any person or vehicle that appears linked to your movement from the start. Phase 2 is your first observation zone. You move into a dense public area. In Tampa, the Riverwalk and Curtis Hickson Waterfront Park provide open sightlines and normal pedestrian flow. If you are on foot, you slow down, change pace, or cross into another nearby public space. If you are in a vehicle, you make a normal parking attempt, a brief loop, or a pass-through without committing to a stop. You are watching for recurrence. Did the same indicator from Phase 1 appear again? Phase 3 is the transition corridor. You shift from one side of downtown to another. In the Tampa example, this means moving from the West Side Park Zone toward the Convention Center or Water Street District. This transition matters because a legitimate passerby, someone who happened to be near you by coincidence, almost always drops off during a district change. A real follower has to make another active decision to stay in your orbit. If they are still with you after this transition, your confidence level should increase. Phase 4 is a controlled stop. You use a staffed public destination, a hotel frontage, a valet lane, a prominent commercial entrance. You do not isolate yourself in a dead corner of a parking deck. The point is to enter an environment with witnesses, cameras, and employees while giving yourself one more observation opportunity. If the same person or vehicle appears again after multiple transitions and district changes, you now have a cluster of indicators rather than a single sighting. Phase 5 is the safe finish. If concern remains after running the full route, you terminate at a hard, safe location and call law enforcement. You do not continue testing indefinitely. Once you have enough indicators, your priority shifts from detection to safety and reporting. Now let me talk about what indicators actually matter, because not every unusual sighting is meaningful. A single sighting of the same car or person means very little by itself. Cities are full of people traveling in the same direction. What you are looking for is clusters of indicators that accumulate across multiple decision points in your route. The indicators that carry the most weight are the same vehicle appearing after multiple turns or district changes, the same person reappearing at more than one stop, someone entering a location shortly after you do, but without any clear purpose there, a vehicle that waits rather than naturally passing through, someone who mirrors your pace changes on foot, speeding up when you speed up, slowing when you slow, and someone who remains near you through transitions that should have separated normal traffic. The distinction between coincidence and a pattern worth escalating is repetition across decision points. One indicator is noise. 2 indicators across separate transitions are noteworthy. 3 or more across a full route sequence is a pattern that warrants action. So, what do you do if the answer is yes? If you have accumulated enough indicators to believe someone may be following you, there are things you should do and things you absolutely should not do. Do not confront them. You do not know who they are, what their intent is, or whether they are alone. Confrontation escalates risk without providing any security benefit. Do not drive home. This is the most important instruction in the entire briefing. If you are being followed and you drive to your residence, you have given away the single most valuable piece of information you possess. Do not stop in an isolated area. Isolation removes witnesses, cameras, and access to help. Do not post about your location in real time on social media. If someone is tracking you through your online presence, real-time posting confirms exactly where you are. Instead, do the following. Move to a populated, high-visibility location. Your safe endpoint. Call 911 if you believe there is an active threat to your safety. If it is not an emergency, but you want to report the situation, document details as soon as you can safely do so. Capture the plate number, make and model of any vehicle, clothing description of any person, the time, and the sequence of events. Note exactly where you were at each observation point, because those locations likely have CCTV that could corroborate your account. This is where a solo person succeeds through discipline, not confrontation. For influencers, executives, and other publicly visible people, the SDR should be part of a broader personal security posture. That means rotating your departure times so you are not leaving the same place at the same time every day, avoiding posting live location on social media, varying your parking habits, not using the same route to the same gym, studio, or restaurant on a predictable schedule, maintaining at least 2 safe public fallback locations in each part of town you regularly visit, and telling one trusted person where you are going and when you should arrive. The SDR is not a substitute for good routine management. It is a contingency tool. You use it when something feels off, when your baseline awareness detects a deviation from normal, or as a periodic discipline to keep your observation skills sharp. The mindset that matters here is not paranoia. It is decision advantage. A disciplined surveillance detection route helps you break predictability. It lets you test suspicion without panic. It keeps you in public, defensible environments. It prevents you from leading unknown persons to your residence. And it gives you better information to provide to law enforcement if you decide to escalate. For a solo executive, creator, or influencer, that is the operating model. Calm, structured, public, and safety first. You do not need a security detail to run an effective SDR. You need awareness, a plan, and the discipline to execute it without emotion overriding judgment. If you are publicly visible, you do not need to become paranoid, but you do need a plan. A surveillance detection route gives you one. Keep it simple, keep it legal, keep it public, and always end in a place that improves your security rather than compromises it. That is the Veridion Briefing Special Edition on surveillance detection routes. If your organization needs personal security consulting, executive protection planning, or threat assessment for publicly visible personnel, visit veridiongroup.com/briefing to schedule a consultation with our team. I am Sloan Mercer with the Veridion Group. Stay informed, stay prepared. I will see you next week.